Hello traders, Gary Wagner here, just about 1040 in Honolulu, 440 in New York. It is Friday. Happy Aloha Friday, as we say on the islands. It is the 9th day of October, 2015, and this is the daily report for gold and silver, our weekend review. And we are absolutely ending this week on a nice note as we trade to new highs not seen for at least the last couple of months, at least the middle of August. Gold currently trading 1156 and change, putting it up about $17 to $18 on the day. It's traded to a low of 1138 and a high of 1159. So we're sitting just off the highs on the day. We did implement a long position yesterday in the market. 1144 was our entry price. 1121 is our current stop. We also entered a long in Palladium. We'll look at that in a second, along with the rest of the precious metals complex, all on today's daily report. So traders, as we close the week out, as I said, we're ending on a nice note. We absolutely have a high that has exceeded our previous high at about 57 right in here. That was the high. Of course, the market closed more like 52, 53, currently trading at 56. So we're absolutely above this prior high. Not a problem taking that out. And our next real level that we need to tackle is got to be this high up here, which is around 1171. Traders, if you recall, we had a dynamic fall from grace as this market traded to an intraday low, and in fact the lowest price gold is traded to since coming off of the record top at 1900, when the market pressed to roughly 1070, 1071 intraday. From there, the market really traded sideways for a while, formed a base really at 1080. You can see that with these lows here. And then we had this dynamic rally, which took us up to these highs at 1171, not seen since. Now, in terms of different levels of support, and then we look at resistance, of course, I'm pegging initial resistance right now at 1171. But if we are going to see any kind of a sustained rally and move into bullish models, we need to take that high out. I really believe gold has that potential, and that potential to achieve it as soon as next week. Now, in terms of support itself, we have our stop currently just below 1121, and that's this mark here. 61% retracement, 50% retracement from these two different fib sequences, one covering the rally, about $100, the other one covering these lows at 1100 up to this former high at 57. And so major support has to stay right here at 1121. But I believe that we should form a level of support roughly at 1133. I did receive an email from one of our subscribers that really wanted to look at trades in terms of risk and reward, a 2-to-1 ratio, which is certainly a good game plan and should be implemented wherever possible. And for those particular clients that are looking for that kind of a risk reward ratio, if you did enter the market yesterday, your stop should be sitting a little bit tighter, just below 33. However, officially we are going to keep it under 21, but the next trailing stop that we would look for would have to be right under this point. We've got series of lows and then higher lows here. If the market's going to take off, we shouldn't be testing lows that we haven't seen in a while. We should be testing highs that we haven't achieved yet. So traders, let's assume for a moment that we have actually seen the bottom or lows in this market for 2015 when we went to 1071, that intraday low. We're currently trading at about 1155. In terms of upper level resistance and different targets that I believe are achievable, and my forecast for the end of this year into next year, which is what I'm currently working on, I think that by mid 2016 we should be able to achieve a high back to around 1300. 1308 would be my mark, and that is based upon this high right up in here. Now, I've got one fib retracement, which really takes us from 1300 all the way down to 1171. So it's a pretty long fib retracement in terms of price change. We can absolutely see we've got minor resistance. It's coming in at around 1160, our 38% retracement. 50% really doesn't match up with any tops or bottoms. In fact, as you can see, we're right in the middle of a trading range on this weekly chart. However, when we go to a 61% retracement, 1217 is our mark, and that also lines up with these tops here that are just above it at about 1231. So I'm not looking at this as one clip up, but I do believe that through the end of this year, in terms of prices that are absolutely achievable, 1217 is about the top end of my spectrum, as high as maybe 1231, based upon this high here that came in roughly May of this year. So we also initiated a long position in Palladium yesterday. Entry price 706, stop 681, current, call it 712 or 711.90 is the exact price, putting it up about 1.25%, almost $9 on the day. Now, when we look at platinum in terms of the moves that we saw through September, realize that back in August, this market was trading at about $5.20 per ounce, barreled right through $6.20. That's a $100 move, and we are right on the doorsteps of really a $200 move in Palladium. My sense is that we could see this market move much higher, and in terms of absolute resistance in the market, it really doesn't come in on a technical basis till we get to about 780 or 800, and that of course is based upon these tops right in here. Recommendation through the weekend is to maintain our current longs in Palladium as well as gold, maintain our current levels of stops. We will look to trail those stops up come Monday or Tuesday, depending on how the market trades. And then traders, lastly, as a thought about next week, I am looking to add to our long metals portfolio. If we're going to see a run, I'd like to have our hands in as many cookie jars, so to speak, as possible. And so we will be adding a platinum position at the beginning of the week. Platinum, tremendous move, up almost 3%, $27, outperforming in terms of percentage gains the entire precious metals complex. And I believe there's some real opportunities that we will see in platinum. This has been Gary Wagner, wishing you as always good trading. We will talk to you on Monday for another daily update and review. Bye-bye.